So I'm chipping away at the disassembly of this Ferrari 330 2+2. It's a Series 2 car. So it's a two headlight car and, obviously needs a full restoration. I've written about it a little bit on my blog. Today I took the windshield out, or both windshields, front and back. That required cutting the gasket out and taking the chrome strip out. Had to be careful, really careful with this glass on these cars because the glass is really not available. Rear glass especially has a defroster line in it, so got to be really careful about pulling it out. You got to cut it all out and carefully pry it and pop it out before, without damaging the glass or bending the stainless steel trim. The rest of the car, it's actually, as bad as it looks, it's actually a pretty original car. I know it's not the original color, but this car, some of the history on it is that it was a show car, and that it was then sold to the public after the show. I think it was a Geneva show car. So I think the original color of it was blue, then it was painted black. I'm not exactly sure why the filler is so thick on this car. It's laid on pretty thick, but when you look at the metal underneath, it's not too rippled and it's not that crash damaged. And when you look at some of the substructure, like the inner sheet metal, it's not bent, and the areas that you would normally see crash damage is not that bad. So we're going to learn more about it once we strip all the things out of the car. In the last several weeks, I've pulled the glass out, I've pulled the interior out, taken the fuel system out, and just pulled the transmission out this week. This thing's a monster. True 5-speed transmission, pretty heavy duty and has to come out of the car from inside the car. So it's a little bit of a struggle to unbolt it from the back. Not like most cars that they slide the transmission in with the engine. On vintage Ferraris, they come out from the inside. You take the transmission out first, which means the interior tunnel has to come off, and then the transmission gets unbolted from the drive shaft, all that stuff, and then wrestled out of the car. I tried a new technique and managed to actually do it by myself, but really should be done as a two-person operation, one person inside with another person on the outside or underneath the car pushing up and trying to keep it from dropping through the hole when you pull it off the nose of the transmission out of the back of the engine. But I wanted to show some of the things that are kind of neat about this car, considering it's so original. Little details that I found as I'm taking apart this car. It still has this little tag, which I find on original cars. It's actually a lead seal that was tied and secured on the steering column. When this thing's here, it's probably proof that this steering column may not have ever been removed from the car. I'm sure there's a way to do it, carefully, to pull the steering column and keep that little detail there, but it's still pretty neat that it's still on this car. So with the transmission disconnected, I put the wheels back on the car and lowered it into position so I can get the cherry picker to a height that the engine could easily come out. Pulling the engine out, we put a strap in so not to damage anything, and cross it over so that I can get the hook onto the strap. Pretty straightforward, but and I usually like to get the engine to lean back a little bit as I pull it, but this time it was a little out of balance and tipped forward. But it still came out, didn't touch anything, nothing was damaged. I call that a good day. Once the engine is out, the plan is to remove the front and rear suspension pieces. The plan is to get this car stripped down to a bare shell so I could send it out for bodywork. Thanks for watching.